They dedicate their lives to helping orphaned animals. They open their hearts and homes to all the challenges of raising a young life, no matter how large or small. They are the Wildlife Nannies. Today on Wildlife Nannies, Rosie, one of the tiniest baboon babies ever, meets Shaka, a potential husband, and visits baboon kindergarten for the first time with him. And Wombat Mater. This 4-month-old baby follows his keeper Shaun everywhere. They're an inseparable team. Mater will take his first trip to the new nursery shortly. Will he find his independence on his journeys through the wildlife park? This is the home of Rita Miljo and her countless orphaned baboon foundlings. The 76-year-old founded the non-profit animal aid organization CARE over 40 years ago. Today, volunteers from all over the world support her project in Southeast Africa. Since she started, Rita has helped give more than 200 orphaned baboons a second chance. This is baby Rosie, her smallest foundling.
The wonderful part is you can never overspoil a baboon. The more love you give him, the more love he gives you back. And it's a wonderful situation for both until then the point comes where they have to part, which is very much easier for the little baboon, but Mama's heart will be broken.
Rita introduces the barely 1-week-old orphaned monkey to its future home along the Oliphant River. In South Africa, baboons are often considered a menace. They're killed for meat, and baboon babies are given as dispensable cute toys to children.
Well, Rosie will be about 8-9 days today. I think she's the smallest baboon I've ever seen. And as long as I mean, look at her, she is tiny. And I think probably she fell off her mother because we found her here. And obviously nobody shoots baboons here. So there might have been some rumpus where they all ran and she was left behind. It was actually a miracle that she was still alive.
On her own, tiny Rosie wouldn't have survived. But through Rita Miljo's care, she'll have a fighting chance to return to the wild.
Well, I'm in Africa since 1953. Long time. And the care project actually, well, it just happened. We specialized on the baboons because nobody really was prepared to do anything for them. At the time, I didn't really realize what I had to learn.
Although Rita takes care of all sorts of foundling babies, baboons have a special place in her heart. They're very special to her because of their almost human qualities.
When I started saying I want to put baboons back into the bush, everybody thought I was mad. Because people were under the impression I had to teach them what to eat. Now, if I would have to do that, it would have been madness, because you can't possibly do that. But they have such a pronounced instinct already that they're born with. They know what to eat and not to eat, and they are so adaptable to different situations, to different habitats.
Rita's on her way to visit a friend who's been raising a male baboon baby for several days. Perhaps he can be a husband for her small Rosie. It's barely dawn at the Mount Field National Park. Wombat Baby Mater is already chipper and enjoying his daily shower with his adoptive father, Shaun. The morning shower is part of a well-rehearsed daily routine.
When you raise young wombats, especially the males, they can get we call it wombat butt. And they get a smelly bottom. It's just their, that's just their natural smell, but it does smell a little bit. If you have them sleeping in your bed, it sort of stinks after a while. So you give them a shower, and yeah, takes care of it all.
Independent Mater knows his way around. When he loses interest, He simply leaves the wombat washer and patiently waits for the drying cycle. Although very confident 4-month-old baby Wombat Mater still has a lot to learn if he wants to get along on his own.
Sometimes he really enjoys it, other times he's just not interested, but yeah, most of the time he does. He's quite happy to have a shower. He's quite used to the warm water. Sometimes I'll just sit there with their head up in the air, taking the water coming out of the tap, just going all over their face.
Mater really enjoys the drying off process. After a good rub down with a soft towel, he's ready to explore the wildlife park that Shaun works in. The animal park Something Wild in Tasmania, south of Australia. Many other animals also call the park their home. Kangaroos, Tasmanian devils, koala bears, and many different varieties of birds. And of course, wombats. 36-year-old animal caretaker Shaun plays his role as adoptive father perfectly.
It has 3 types of wombat, but in Tasmania we only have the common wombat. He's been named Mater by the owner's little boy. And he came to us about 5 months ago. Mother was killed on the roads and he was found in the pouch, just a little baby, and healthy. And when you raise little baby wombats, they're very affectionate babies. They just, in the wild, they're never far from mum. They're never more than like 4 inches away from mum. They're just basically always right next to her. It's the same when you hand raise them. It doesn't like to sit still very long.
In the case of Mater, mother's pouch is replaced by a normal cloth sack. Just like in nature, Shaun carries little Mater with him wherever he goes.
Most wildlife carers are females, but there are male wildlife carers around. There just, seems to be more women, but I've always liked animals and that. And, you know, before I moved to Tasmania, which was over 3 years ago, I never thought I'd be raising a wombat, so, and other numerous native animals. So it's, basically a dream come true for me. He's on 4 bottles a day now, and he's eating lots of solid food, grass and that as well, which is really good. So when we got him, he was under 1 kilo in weight. He's now over 1.5 kilos. So he's gaining quite well. He's quite healthy.
Shaun prepares Mater's milk bottles for later in the nursery. It's Mater's first time there, and this will be a very important test to see if Mater can socialize with other animals. A half-hour jeep ride through the bush takes Nanny Rita to her destination at the east end of the Cape, the lodge of her good friend, Anne Leslie.
We are visiting a friend of mine who is looking after a little baby boy. He was brought to us, I think mother shot. It was a very sad situation. And he is getting so spoiled here. You will not find another baboon so spoiled in South Africa.
This is your girlfriend for future, your future wife. It'd be nice. Give her a kiss.
Future husband Sharka doesn't seem too interested in his fiancée.
Kiss the baby. They've been absolutely
You heard lines, didn't you?
crazy all night. He's the boss, without a doubt. And even after 3 children, I can't believe I've got someone wrapped around my finger like this, telling me what to do, me running around and jumping for him. And that's this little character. But he's had a tough life. He had a hard start and he was very sick, yes, very sick. And I sat up with him night after night on a drip, no sleep. So I think he's taking advantage of that now.
Poor little orphan, as I say, he was brought to us in the middle of the night and the people were saying, we found him on the road, which definitely was a lie because baboons don't walk on the road at 10 o'clock at night. I would imagine they must have shot the mother to get him and then realized, this is too much work. But he was so small, he was a little bit bigger than this. So he really needed his personal mom. And Anne was so keen to have him. And so he got the most wonderful personal mum. I think she beats Madonna and Angelina Jolie.
Like Rosie, 3-month-old Sharka was in bad shape when he was found, but now he's loved all the more for it. It's no wonder that Sharka would much rather be spoiled by Anne at the lodge than hang out with his Rosie. It's like a huge, safe and loving adventure playground here.
You fall in love very quickly with him. Very, very quickly. I don't know how I'm going to part with him. I really don't know. He's going to have to be very bad so that I'll be pleased to get rid of you. But it's going to be very difficult. I've resigned myself to the fact that I've got to do it, but it's not going to be easy. At least I can visit him.
This afternoon, Sharka and Rita will visit Rita's kindergarten. But will spoiled Sharka be able to get along with other playmates? Animal nanny Shaun is on his way to the nursery with baby Mater.
We're going to the nursery inside the main building. We're introducing the wombat to stage 2. Stage 1, wombat lives with me, never too far, always on my side, comes home with me at night. Stage 2, we introduce it into the nursery. It starts to spend its day in the nursery by itself and with some of the other young animals that we're raising.
Mater is not the only baby in the nursery. A Wombat baby, sometimes also called Petamelon, is curious to make his acquaintance. Or perhaps he's only interested in his new playmate's milk bottle.
Because he was a new baby, very scared, unfamiliar sounds, smells. Even though it's the proper milk for them, it's never as good as mum's milk. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of work to try and get him used to it. And after a couple of weeks of struggling to feed him, he just got used to it all and now he loves his bottle.
Petamelons are extremely shy in the wild.
This little one's a little wallaby called a paddy melon. Her name's Bop. And 4 months ago her mother was killed on the roads and she was found in the pouch and she was brought here to be raised by us, and it's her bottle feed straight after the wombat. So she may be a little impatient and start jumping all over me trying to get to the milk. With paddy melons, they don't like other animals or each other very much. She likes me at the moment. At 2 kilos, that's when they leave mum in the wild, she'll hate me.
But with a little coaxing and a little milk as bait, maybe the two of them will become friends after all.
The paddy melon, it'll tolerate the wombat. The wombat won't care about the paddy melon basically. The paddy melon may come up and want to try, it won't hurt it, but want to have a bit of a fight. And the wombat, they just swing around, they have an armoured bottom and give it a whack with the bottom, and the paddy melon thinks, right, I've had enough.
And that's as it should be, because these two would react the same way in nature. So for now, Mater is returned to his comfortable sack, because Shaun has another stop planned. Every 2 or 3 days, he has to check the weight of his foundling. So it's off to the weigh station. This is a very important process, because Mater can only be returned to the wild if he gains the right amount of weight.
I'm just going to weigh him, see how he's been gaining. We do this with all our young animals as they're growing up. Weighing's a real good sign of how they're going. You know, if they start losing weight, you know there's a problem. They shouldn't be losing weight. They should be staying the same, and of course increasing weight. We set the scales.
Well, the towel seems familiar, but where's the shower?
He's nearly 2 kilos, so that's quite good. So he's well and truly ready for stage 2. He's got the right temperament, he's gaining well, he's nice and healthy, and yeah, as you can see, he's quite feisty.
With a clean bill of health, it's now high time to see if Mater can find new friends among his own kind at the zoo. Rosie and Sharka's arrival causes quite a commotion at the kindergarten. This group of about a dozen orphan baboons has been put together by Rita and her volunteers. It's the vitally important second step on the long road to their release. Here, the social behavior of the baboons is observed, and Rita makes sure that they can all integrate into a clan without problems.
I think he's got a lot to learn, especially if he's as spoiled as he is. But because we stay so close, we can bring him all the time, and he'll just get used to it slowly but surely. And hopefully, one day when I have to leave him here, it won't be too hard on either of us.
The other monkeys in the group are older,
He's disgusted. He says he's not a baboon. He's got nothing to do with any of these creatures. He's a person.
but they will teach Sharka and Rosie a lot about their own kind. This process takes approximately 5 years.
The next step is that the mothers stay out of it, but they're still baby class. They're still coming in to sleep at night for the simple reason, like, if they live in nature with the troops, they've got big ones to look after them. So when it gets dark, they are scared like human babies would be. So as long as they're not comfortable with it, we take them inside, and they've got cages where they sleep with their friends, and in the morning we take them out again. It's a lot of work.
Our potential newlyweds have done all right on their first day. But for now, they've had enough of their new playmates.
Rita, tell Rita where you've been.
He's a little baboon,
He's played with the babies.
Rita and Leslie give their babies a bottle almost every hour. In the last years, Rita has coddled hundreds of baboon orphans, and this is all part of the love and attention she gives them.
He's very hungry. He's been a busy boy.
You see, the milk is actually the same stuff that you give human babies. We get it, thank goodness, donated by the manufacturer. And we go according to what is prescribed for human babies. Go. Hey, are we having a win?
Shaun and Mater are on their way to visit 6-year-old wombat Wongle. He's the oldest wombat in the park and has a life expectancy of 25 years in captivity.
Hello, Wongle.
But the reclusive Wongle isn't too thrilled by these unexpected visitors. Baby Mater is staying near his pouch, as if he realizes that he won't make friends among his own kind.
Male wombats, very unsociable animals. If we were to put him down on the ground now, and he got sight of him or got a scent of him, he would kill him.
Well, that's enough to get Mater scrambling for cover.
Jenny, our fat boy. Their first wombat raised here in the sanctuary. As a youngster, he had the unfortunate accident when he was out eating grass, swallowing a spider. It bit him inside the throat. His throat closed over. He had to be resuscitated 3 times. The owners had pulled him through it. He survived, but because of his such a bad start in life, he's a rather small wombat for his age. But as you can see, he's quite healthy, he's quite aggressive, which is the way he should be. He'd like nothing more than to bite either of us. But because his stomach's not working properly, because of his bad start in life, he's not suitable for release. So we keep him in this nice large enclosure that's been built for him.
Bad-tempered Wongle just wants to be left alone. But Shaun knows how to pacify irate wombats like him.
There is one little trick to calm a wombat down. Works very well on the young wombats, but sometimes you can still do it on the older wombats like Benny here. You just gently blow them on the nose and it'll send them to sleep sometimes.
A born and bred wombat foster father like Shaun has all sorts of tricks up his sleeve in order to keep his wombats happy and asleep. Rita and her volunteer Eureka are on their way to check the progress of a group of foundlings who've been released recently.
Now, these baboons that are here grew up at our place from as small as these little guys, as you see. Normally, when we take troops out with our little ones that grow up at our center, I give them about between 4 and 6 months. It depends. Then they sort of walk around with our release team to find their way, and once they know where the water is and where that is and where that is, then they're fine. And that's the only thing that we have to teach them while we are here. Then we only go back, say, in the beginning once a month to see whether everything's okay. Oh, look, they're all coming. Where have you been, you guys? Hi, you guys. Hi, you guys.
While with the clan, Rita and Eureka encounter Ranger Steve Monroe, who's made an unsettling discovery, a sling trap.
Now, isn't that sad? These are being put out by people to get meat. And if he catches them, they go to jail. But now, how do you catch people in a thing like this? You keep this all nice together, hey?
For the first few weeks, Rita or volunteers from her project keep a close eye on the newly released baboons to make sure that they don't fall prey to such deadly hunters, and that they assert themselves against other monkey clans. A careful study of baboon behavior has taught Rita a few tricks to make reintegration easier.
We let them out in stages. First, of course, the alpha male will go and do his thing. If you let them out all in one bunch, they just go. Now, can you see us running up the mountains to find them again? What we do now is we keep a couple of them back, which we call the crawlers, because they cannot follow the troop. And when the others really decide to go, the crawlers call them back and say, hey, you've forgotten us. Once the outside guys know where they are, then we let the next one out and the next one.
The freshly released baboons don't have offspring yet. Perhaps that's why they're so interested in little Rosie. But the baby still depends on Rita at this stage.
There is no point in trying to keep little chaps like Rosie alive if we don't have the possibility to give back to them what we've taken away from them. They're not there because they're cute and lovely. Yes, they are, but that's our bonus. But basically speaking, we owe them something, and I think that's what we must not forget. And if I can't give them that, I think it would be very foolish to keep a little chap like this alive just because it's cute and I love it. And if you don't have a future for that animal, then it would be not right to keep them alive and going, I think. This is lovely.
Without people like Rita, the baboon population could face extinction. But her work finally seems to be paying off. There's now a growing movement in South Africa to protect baboons and not to see them as an epidemic. And that will mean a happy end for Rosie. Nanny Shaun and his 4-year-old son Joel have a very special surprise for little Mater. They want to reward him with a trip outside the animal park, an important step towards his reintegration into the wild.
He would go back into the bag, yeah. But curiosity's definitely got the better of him here. But now he's going to actually go out and have a walk around. He's getting, this is his first time down this part of the sanctuary, so he's new smells, the river. Hopefully have a feed on some grass and that.
I like it when they walk.
He's following you.
Yeah.
Looks like Mater has finally found a new friend. He's sure not letting Joel out of his sight. With his help, Mater gets to explore exciting new territory along the river.
There you go. You don't bring him too close to the water, Joel. Yeah, no, he's only small. It'd be too cold for him and he wouldn't swim very well.
Of course, it's most important not to neglect one's new playmate. And Mater makes sure he stays right with Joel.
Yep, he's eating now, yeah. As they get bigger, not much bigger than this, you'll find a clump of grass and you can't pull it out. It's all stuck in the ground and they'll grab it with their teeth and rip it straight out, roots and all. And we can't pull it out with our hands. When they're about twice this size, they can start doing that. But they're very strong animals. If you don't have a wash. No, see if he goes in the bag.
But why didn't you throw me up to the rocks?
Oh, we're not going to the rocks.
Where are we going then?
He's ready to go to sleep, I think.
There's nothing like a successful family excursion. And Mater showed excellent progress on his first wildlife challenge. But after all of today's activities, he's ready to curl up in his pouch and go home. As the last visitors leave and the park gets ready to close, Shaun has to feed the animals one last time. Only then can he call it a night for himself and Mater. It's not far to the tin hut they call home in the middle of the park. The two of them have been together for such a long time that they've worked out quite an evening routine.
They're good in winter nights. They're like hot water bottles. They keep you very warm. But he likes to wake up in the early hours of the morning, and if he's not pulling the hairs out of your legs with his front teeth, he's chewing on your hair. And as he gets older, when he weighs about a year of age, he'll be about 10, 12 kilos in weight. What often happens is they get excited in the early hours of the morning, and 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning you've got this wombat jumping all over you, and they'll often just whack your teeth into you like a hammer, and you don't get much sleep. But at this age they're pretty good. He just wakes up now and then and you just feel his little pinpricks in your legs where he's pulling the hairs out. So, yeah, and if I'm sometimes reading a book, he likes to chew on the pages.
Little Mater doesn't seem to have acquired the taste for a good story, but the book sure tastes good. Even if the obligatory goodnight story isn't catching on, at least there's a snack in it. And like any normal baby, Mater has to rebel against the threat of sleep before peace and quiet finally takes over in the Tasmanian Wildlife Park. Next time on Wildlife Nannies, baby orca Skyla has practiced the center belly with her trainers Claudia and Mark. Will she be able to do this maneuver and become a part of the act? And flying foxes, a new admittance at the Bat Hospital. 1-week-old baby Xanadu ends up in the care of veterinarian Jenny. Will she be able to nurse her new patient back to health?